The shadow of empire. Empires are born from ambition and built upon conquest. But every empire faces the same question. How much blood must be spilled to preserve its greatness? 2,300 years ago, in the heart of the Indian subcontinent, one man asked that question and changed the course of world history. His name was Ashoka Maurya, remembered not for the wars he won, but for the one war that broke him. This is not the story of an ordinary ruler. It is the story of how a conqueror became a philosopher, how an emperor turned from the sword to the soul, and how his transformation shaped the very foundations of Asian civilization. The heir of Chandragupta. Long before Ashoka's name echoed across the subcontinent, the Mauryan dynasty had already reshaped India. His grandfather, Chandragupta Maurya, rose from obscurity to overthrow tyranny, guided by the cunning strategist Chanakya, author of the Arthashastra, a treatise on power, espionage, and rule. Under Chandragupta, the Mauryan Empire stretched across vast lands, from the Himalayas in the north to the Deccan Plains in the south. It was a time of consolidation, order, and ambition. Ashoka was born into this world of might and intellect around 304 BCE, the son of Emperor Bindusara and grandson to India's first unifier. But unlike his forebears, Ashoka was not the favored heir. In the palace halls of Pataliputra, whispers said he was too headstrong, too ambitious, even ruthless. When rebellion broke out in the city of Taxila, it was Ashoka, not his elder brothers, who crushed it. The act made him feared and admired. The court poets would later write that his eyes burned with a fire of destiny, a flame that sought dominion over all of India. The rise of a conqueror. Ashoka's path to the throne was not peaceful. The records hint at palace intrigue, rival claimants, betrayals, and bloodshed. By 268 BCE, the struggle was over. Ashoka emerged victorious, crowned as the third emperor of the Mauryan Empire. The coronation marked the beginning of one of the most formidable reigns in Indian history. He inherited an empire that was already vast, but Ashoka's vision was total. He sought to complete what even his grandfather had not: the unification of the entire subcontinent. Inscriptions and chronicles describe his early years as fierce and expansionist. He was known as Chandashoka, Ashoka the Fierce, a ruler who demanded obedience, crushed dissent, and believed glory came only through conquest. And so, his armies marched. One by one, neighboring territories fell, until only one kingdom remained unconquered: Kalinga. The War of Kalinga. Kalinga, a prosperous, independent land on the eastern coast of India. Its people were known for their pride, their freedom, and their refusal to submit. In 261 BCE, Ashoka's armies surrounded it. The war that followed was swift, brutal, and merciless. Contemporary inscriptions tell us what happened next, not from the mouths of chroniclers, but from Ashoka himself. He wrote, 150,000 were taken prisoner, 100,000 were slain, and many times that number perished. The fields of Kalinga were drenched in blood. But victory brought no triumph, only silence. Amid the corpses, the emperor walked. There, something broke within him. He saw not enemies, but fathers, mothers, and children, lives extinguished in his name. He wrote later, "Even one who conquers must see his own conquest as a defeat." It was in that moment, on the ashes of Kalinga, that Ashoka the Conqueror began to die, and Ashoka the Great began to be born. The Emperor's Awakening. In the aftermath of Kalinga, Ashoka turned inward, haunted by what he had done. He sought a new path, one not paved with blood, but with understanding. His search led him to the teachings of the Buddha. The doctrine of compassion, mindfulness, and the rejection of violence struck deep within his conscience. For the first time, he found words for the transformation stirring within him: dharma, the law of moral order, the path of righteousness. The emperor took vows of peace. He renounced conquest by the sword and declared a new kind of victory: conquest by dharma. The man who had once commanded the deadliest army in the world now devoted his life to compassion, tolerance, and reform. The dharma of empire. Ashoka's transformation was not confined to his heart. It reshaped the empire itself. He ordered edicts to be carved on stone pillars and rock faces across thousands of miles, from Afghanistan to southern India. These were not decrees of war or taxation, but of ethics, humility, and compassion. They spoke of tolerance between faiths, of kindness to servants and animals, of fairness in governance and justice for all. Ashoka wrote, "All men are my children, and as I desire for my own children that they should be happy and prosperous, so do I desire the same for all men." The empire began to reflect this new spirit. Hospitals were built, roads improved, trees and wells lined the highways. The same machinery of power that once spread war now spread welfare. The spread of the Dharma, Ashoka's influence reached beyond borders. He sent envoys, not with armies, but with messages of peace, to regions as far as Egypt, Syria, and Greece. He dispatched missionaries to Sri Lanka, Central Asia, and the Himalayas. In time, the teachings of the Buddha, once confined to northern India, began to spread across Asia, from the forests of Burma to the temples of China and the islands of Japan. While centuries would reshape and reinterpret the faith, its moral foundation, compassion, mindfulness, and moderation, bore Ashoka's unmistakable imprint. Through his transformation, Ashoka became not only a ruler of men, but a ruler of hearts. The sunset of an emperor. Ashoka reigned for nearly 4 decades. But like all empires, the Mauryan glory began to fade after his death. The empire fragmented, yet his legacy endured. Long after the palaces crumbled, his stone pillars stood. Long after the Mauryan dynasty vanished, his words still spoke. Work for the good of all. Do not harm others. Be tolerant. Be just. In the modern age, Ashoka was rediscovered, not as a conqueror, but as a symbol of moral leadership. Today, India's national emblem bears the Ashokan lion, standing proud atop one of his ancient pillars. It reminds us that power without compassion is hollow, and that even the mightiest empire begins with the strength of the soul. Epilogue. From blood to dharma. History remembers countless conquerors: Alexander, Caesar, Genghis Khan. But how many of them sought peace after victory? Ashoka's greatness lies not in what he conquered, but in what he renounced. He turned from the roar of battle to the quiet call of conscience. And in doing so, he gave the world a lesson that still endures: that true power is not domination, but transformation. If you found this exploration insightful, give this video a like, share it with a friend, and subscribe to Timeless Questions channel for more deep dives into philosophy, history, and human nature. Because the questions may be ancient, but the wisdom is timeless.